Nilima, and good evening to everybody. I'm in Copenhagen, and it's 1 hour later than you, and it's getting dark here. So I just like the title very much. I will share the screen here, so I hope it works. Yes. So thanks to Manchester Center for inviting me. And I must say that the title was very timely for me, because at the moment it's the most intensive preparation time for next climate change conference, and that will happen in Egypt in November. So in the past 2 weeks, we have filed maybe 15 applications and getting travels and delegation and accommodation and everything ready. So when I got this invitation, I thought, well, this talk is going to be for myself tonight. So I'm happy to share with you some methods I have used in the past on how to feel more free on the inside. And I feel that freedom, sometimes you have a feeling that if I'm free, I can go wherever I want, or I can travel wherever I want, I can see whoever I want. But real freedom would be, I feel, to experience the choice you have in responding to other people, to the world, to yourself, to work, to anything. Wherever I go, whatever I do, whatever I think, I have a choice. But sometimes life is so fast, so I don't feel that choice. I don't experience the choice. So one way to free my mind for myself has been to slow down a bit, and also to learn to understand my mind, that I feel I have a choice wherever I do. And when I have a choice, I also have responsibility, because I have to learn to take the right decision between all the different choices that comes every day. So somehow freedom goes together with responsibility. And as a bracket to my introduction, I also work in the prison. For 30 years here in Copenhagen, I worked with prisoners, teaching meditation and positive thinking. And of course, freedom is a big topic there. We talk about freedom every day, and they long for freedom. So we have had many interesting discussions. But let me share with you. Here I found this very nice quote by Mahatma Gandhi, and I thought we'll base our discussion around that. That truth is by nature self-evident, and as soon as you remove the cobweb of ignorance that surrounds it, it shines very clear. Because in the introduction to the talk today, it mentioned I need to remove the cobweb of all my thoughts and free my mind. And Mahatma Gandhi here is talking about the cobweb of ignorance. And how can we understand that? And well, where to start? Here is another cobweb. And I went on the internet and had a look, and I found many beautiful cobwebs, I must say. But sometimes when we have too many thoughts in our mind, the cobweb is not beautiful. So this was a bit frightening cobweb I could find. So let's say I want to free my mind and I want to take more responsibility. I want to experience the choice I have where to start. And you might all be aware of how many thoughts we actually do have in our mind. And when I started to teach in positive thinking now, I think 30 years ago, they told me, and this is not scientific, right? You can't find it as a scientific research, but it would only be people's experiences, personal investigation. And they said as a quiet day 30 years ago, we had 30,000 thoughts per day. And a busy day, we would have 60,000 thoughts per day. But you see, that was before the internet and before the mobile phone, before the handy. So today they say we're up to 100,000 thoughts per day, a normal day. So now it's 20 to 7 for you, I think. It's 20 to 8 here for me. So you still maybe have another 20,000 thoughts to go today. And of course, if I have 100,000 thoughts per day, where shall I begin? If I want to tidy up and free some energy and free my mind. So I will share with you a very easy way of dividing these 100,000 thoughts. Because actually 100,000 thoughts per day would also mean 100,000 choices per day, which is enormous. You know, it's too much we can think of. So when I learned this very simple way of dividing the thoughts in 4 groups, 4 easy groups, which we all easily can remember, it was somehow a relief for me. And I could see very clearly where I should start in freeing my mind and tidy up in my thought processes. So next slide here, I hope you all can see it. These are 4 different types of thoughts that are happening in my mind.
Sorry, Sonja. We can't see your slides, so I think you might not have shared them.
Okay, I can see them on my screen. So let me check here. I will try again. You remember we tried in the beginning and it didn't work very well. So
I could see them, Sonja.
You could see them?
Yes. And my mobile was showing.
So I'll...
so maybe just share again.
Yeah, I will share again. So here, Richard can also see them. That's nice. Thank you, Richard.
Sorry, it might just be at my end then.
Yeah, I don't know. Now. I don't know. So here is the first one, and here is Mahatma Gandhi's quote. And here would be the cobweb. You can see them, Ruth?
Yes, perfect.
And now we have 4 different types of thoughts. And if someone can't see this slide of 4 different thoughts, you put it in the chat and we see if we can sort it out. But here it says the 4 different types are necessary thoughts, unnecessary thoughts, positive thoughts, and negative thoughts. You see, these 4 categories of my thoughts is easy to remember. We have necessary thoughts, unnecessary, positive, and negative. And if you look back on your day you had today, you would be able to categorize most of your thoughts. And you see the necessary thoughts and the positive thoughts, they generate energy in your life. And I will explain by category how that happens. And the unnecessary and the negative, they eat your energy, they steal your energy, they take it away from you, and you end up very tired. So by the end of this talk, I like to do an energy accounting with you together, so we can see how free your mind is. But let's start with the first category, necessary thoughts. And the necessary thoughts, they would be very practical. And they give a result. So, for example, when we go to work, we have many practical thoughts. And, you know, as I work in a prison, I have hundreds of rules and regulations I need to follow at every step. So I have many necessary thoughts there. And of course, we have a family to look after, all which comes with eating and cleaning and going here and there, and our health, a calendar and daily life. And these are necessary thoughts, they are practical thoughts, and the energy they generate is a result. So these are result-oriented. I get a paycheck, I get an experience, I get a meal. These are all things that gives me energy in a way. But these necessary thoughts, they can very easily turn to become unnecessary. And I'm changing slide here. And now it says unnecessary thoughts. So what are they? So the unnecessary thoughts are wasteful, is a waste of thoughts, energy and time. They don't give any result. They create tiredness and they steal your energy. They're repetitions and worry and regrets. So let's talk a little bit about them. Because the first category was practical. And the second category is these unnecessary thoughts. And sometimes the necessary thoughts, if I repeat them too many times, it becomes unnecessary. So let's say you're going to do shopping after work and you have a list of 10 things. And instead of writing it down, you run through that shopping list every hour at work. So that's 8 hours at work, so 10 things to buy. So that's 80 thoughts just going on the shopping list, which could have been only once. And if I have many of these things, it adds up and becomes thousands of thoughts on things I could maybe have on a piece of paper instead of in my head. And I feel sometimes it's like hygiene for my mind to clean up the clutter which doesn't need to be there. But maybe that's not the major cause of waste thoughts. It can also be, of course, the past. And many things happens and we need to think about it and digest our past experiences. But if I keep thinking too much about it, it's not necessary any longer. It's just a habit of dwelling on the past. And you see, we have a few rules in life which are the same for all of us. And one would be, for example, you can't change other people, you can only change yourself. And the other one would be connecting to the past. We can't change the past. This is not possible. We can change the way we look at it, but we can't change what actually happened. And if there has been bad things happening in my life, I might need help to digest it and put it in place. But there is a point somewhere for everybody where it is the best to just let it rest and be there. And so that becomes unnecessary thoughts. And the other is, one is the past, and the other one would be the worry, which is about the future. So we have too many worries, most of us. I read an interesting article once, and they said that 65% of all worries are completely unnecessary. And so that means more than half of our worries have no foundation in reality. It's more a habitual thinking or worry. So, and if then the worries I do have, which are real, they should kind of end up in a type of action at some point. So I act on it. If there is something worries me, I need to act to stop the worry. And if I don't, then I just keep on worrying. So that takes a lot of energy. And I just want to share a sweet little story, because there was a guy who came, an older gentleman actually, he came to one of the courses we had in positive thinking, and he was worrying all the time. And he had children and also grandchildren. He was worrying about the children and the children's work, the children's partners, the children's finance, and he was worrying about the grandkids and their school. He was worrying about himself and his wife and their health and their future, and the whole day about worry. So we decided, because he asked me what I could do, and we so kind of discussed it, and we agreed that he would worry 2 hours per day. And we put those 2 hours in the evening. So we said between 6 and 8 was his worry time. And in the morning, when he started to worry, then he got worried he would forget what he was going to worry about. So he started to write it down. And so when it comes to 6 o'clock, he starts worrying about all these things. And if he started in the morning, he told himself, you write it down and then you worry in the evening. And as time goes by, he doesn't need 2 hours. It comes down to 15 minutes per day. And of course, you can all feel the different quality of life if you worry all day or if you worry 15 minutes per day. And those 15 minutes he wanted to keep, just in case, because a little bit of worry he was used to. So what's happening with all these unnecessary thoughts is that they take your energy. They eat it up. It can be like just like a noise pollution, in a sense of thoughts going in the back of your mind all the time. So maybe you sit with one task, and when you're doing that task, you think, when I'm done this, I have to do this, and then I have to do the other thing, and then the other thing. And then you come back to your present task, and after a while you do the same. When I'm done this, I have to do that, and I have to do that. And what happens is that I'm not present in the moment. And then I don't get the joy out of the present moment, because my mind is always going back and forward. So I would guess for many of you, unnecessary thought might be the biggest group you have. And they take your energy. It's like I start the day with this much energy. And too many unnecessary thoughts. It's like your energy is eaten up, maybe quietly, you don't even notice. So by the end of the day, I can feel very tired, but I don't know why, because things are kind of pretty good, and I don't have many negative thoughts and no big problems, but I'm just tired. Mental tired, physically tired. And this can be the reason. So I'll change slide now. And here we have the 4 different types of thoughts again. So the first one was necessary, practical, which give you a practical result. Unnecessary thoughts, they are the thoughts that take your energy away, is wasting your energy. And then now the next couple of categories would be positive and negative thoughts. And I have a slide here with some example of positive thoughts. And we all know that my positive thoughts that generate energy. So here the first quality is love. And I hope you all remember when you kind of fell in love the first time or second time or how many times. But when you fall in love, it's so much energy. You kind of don't need to eat or sleep or anything. It's just energy. The love does that to you. It generates a lot of energy. And other positive thoughts is forgiveness, enthusiasm, understanding, joy, acceptance, hope, compassion, respect, harmony, peace, trust, tolerance, honesty. And once I looked up in the Danish dictionary how many virtues I could find, and I find around 120. And as English has many more words than our language, you would have more than double or triple number of virtues or good qualities. So you can just keep on thinking about it. What is love for me, and how do I practice it? How do I share it? How do I know it's love? So many things to think about. How is love and joy connected? If I have acceptance, what does that lead to? And so my question to you, and maybe you want to put it in your chat, you would be most welcome. What are your 3 best personal qualities? So what you feel about yourself, not what others think about you, but what you think about yourself. And then just keep expanding the list. And I practiced now very actively for many years. If I meet a situation I don't like, or if I meet a person which I have difficulties with, I ask myself, how can I turn this situation around and end up on a positive note? Or if I meet a person, is there anything in this person which I work very well with, which resonates with me, and then focus on that and try to turn a kind of blind eye to the things which I don't resonate with. And I do it for my own sake, in a sense. I'm a bit selfish there because I benefit from that. And I can't change other people anyway. It's a kind of, you can't do it. So it's not even worth trying. I can explain to them how I see things. So the next slide then would be here, negative thoughts. And as we all know, the negative thoughts, they take my energy, they steal my energy. If I have many negative thoughts, I would be heavy, a bit depressed, anxiety, fearful. And here is critical, ignorant, careless. I have many prejudices, arrogant, stressful, anger, dependent, greedy, irritated, fearful. And these negative thoughts, they are often connected more to my upbringing, to my childhood, to time in school, to family system. Whereas the other category, which steals my energy, the unnecessary thoughts, they are maybe more a reflection on my daily life. So the negative thoughts, they are more deep-rooted and would take more work to remove. Whereas the unnecessary thought, we can talk about it later, they are actually not that difficult to remove, but these, they will take some time and energy and effort. But one way of looking at it would think of negative thoughts like a symptom of lacking something. For example, if someone has a deficiency of D vitamin, they would have muscle pain and body pain. And I wouldn't treat the body pain in that case. I would treat the deficiency with D vitamin, and then the symptoms will disappear. And if someone has deficiency in B vitamin, for example, they might have symptoms in hair and nails and skin, muscles also, which are connected to B vitamin. And as I treat with giving a doses of tablets with B vitamin, my symptoms disappear. And can it be the same with the negative thoughts, that they are symptoms of a deficiency? So let's say for the first one, for example, critical. If I'm very critical, a person who is very critical, what is it they could lack? What positive quality are they lacking? Of course, we should be kind of healthy critical, but you can be overcritical. Do you know, if you've done something really good, but you just forgot one little thing, there is a few people who always notice that one little thing I forgot, and that's the first thing they mention, and they just kind of don't see everything that went well. I can be overcritical. And some people would argue that to be overcritical, you might lack self-esteem, because if I'm critical to others, I would then be critical to myself. So I have a lot of self-criticism as basis for criticizing others. So if I have self-criticism, I might be lacking self-love, self-worth, self-esteem. So if that person would practice a lot of loving the self, the critical thoughts might disappear slowly. And we can take another quality here, for example, if I take stress, and we can have situations that stress us, workload that stresses us, we can have a relationship that stresses us. But what's the basic deficiency when it comes to stress? And some people might argue that it's peace. I'm lacking inner peace. I'm lacking being present in the moment. I'm lacking priorities. I'm lacking clarity. Can be many things. And so for each one has to take each one of the negative qualities and sit down by themselves and ask themselves, what am I lacking here? And if you find out that it's peace, then I start practicing peace and more peace. And then stress will slowly go away. And we will find that in many of these negative thoughts is actually self-love, self-esteem, self-respect, self-worth that's lacking. And this is something each one, I think, have to work on to free my mind. I have to see where my bondages is and go deep into there and find what positive quality am I lacking, and then start practicing that. And I'm sure each one will feel a higher degree of freedom in your mind. And that's a kind of beautiful work to do it in that way. So here now, I'm asking you, which kind of thought do you have most of? So here, would you put necessary thoughts as number one? Is your daily life governed by your calendar kind of thing? Is your a calendar person? Everything is by calendar and notes. So maybe that has number one. Or would it be unnecessary thoughts, which is the constant repetition of thoughts? Some person told me that 95% of all our thoughts are repetitions. So we have about a little window of creativity every day. And now we have to make sure that that little window of creativity then ends up on some positive thoughts or necessary thoughts. So, or is your biggest group the positive thoughts or the negative thoughts? So if you here put 1, 2, 3, 4, you can also see then, if you look at the other end of the table here, you see as plus and minus. So if you have necessary thoughts and positive thoughts as number 1 and 2, you will have a surplus of energy. Many people I ask, they say they have unnecessary thoughts as the first group and negative thoughts as a second group. That means they have a deficiency in their energy account, right? So they have a minus group and a minus group in first and second group. So this is a very easy way of counting your thoughts. And maybe it's a bit helpful on where to start when I tidy up and to free my mind. And just one note on the unnecessary thoughts, which I think will be a big group for many of you, is that how to remove them. Well, I can become maybe a bit more organized by planning my day and writing things down and not keep too many things in my head. That's one thing. Another thing is that I can also practice to be present in the moment. So I plan my day in the morning, but as the tasks and people appear in my life, I'm there with the task or with the person, and I'm listening. And that gives a satisfaction. And then I'm satisfied, because if I don't do it, then I will be dissatisfied, and then my mind will go elsewhere for entertainment. You know how it is like to speak to a person and you can feel that they're not listening. They might be nodding at you and they're looking at you, but you feel their mind is somewhere else. And that is not a satisfactory conversation, we know that. But you also know the difference if the person you're speaking to really listening and really with you. And even though you might not discuss the deepest philosophy of life, you can have a very satisfactory conversation or meeting or encounter, which is nourishing for the spirit and which will free your mind to listen. But another thing I can also do to remove some unnecessary thoughts would be like to check in with myself from time to time. Where are my thoughts now? Oh dear, I've been thinking about this so many times already, and it's only 10 o'clock. So and maybe ask yourself, is this thought really mine, or where does it come from? No, it's actually a family system thought. This is how we think in the family I grew up in, but it might not necessarily be my thought any longer. Do I really want it? No, I don't want it any longer. Okay, I'll put it aside. And maybe you have to put it aside a few times, but then it will go away. Or maybe you read something in the paper, some stupid thing, and it got stuck in your mind. And without you have realized it, I've given 500 thoughts to that one. And then I can ask myself, is this really necessary, and does it give any satisfaction? Do I really need to think about this anymore? No, I can think of something else and give another nice task to your mind. So by asking, is this thought really mine, or does it belong to somebody else? Is this really what I want to think about, or would I rather move on? Kind of nicely educate your own thoughts, and you will find that the unnecessary thoughts, they go quite easily if I discover them. So the hurdle there is to be attentive and to discover them. But whereas the negative thoughts, they would take a little bit more time to leave and some work. So I hope you find this table and these 4 kinds of thoughts useful. And here is a very nice slide. I can see I spelled setting wrong here, so you have the apologies for that. But another task is to set a positive aim for oneself. So what qualities do I need to develop to fulfill my aim? So I become like the person here in the mirror. I become very sweet and kind to myself and give myself flowers from time to time. So setting a positive aim for my personal development helps to free my mind. And then, of course, which qualities do I need? It's like putting an aim for a company. If you want to go international, you need to know, okay, I need to learn about international law and currency and culture and everything. I set an aim and I develop those qualities. And now if I want to become a more loving and peaceful person, what will the process be? And here is, I just want to say thank you, because I would like to meditate with all of you now. And I thought as the picture of the cobweb was dark, I choose this picture for you because I find it beautiful. It's like a person filled with stars looking at the night sky, filled with small stars. So we replace the cobweb with a night sky full of stars. And we do it gently with a lot of love and treating oneself nicely. The conversation I have in my head, I should be able to play it for other people and without being embarrassed. So at least that's what I think. So I'll have another, I have another slide here, which is one of my favorite slides. And I invite you to have a 10 minutes reflection meditation with me. Yeah, constellation of a yogi, someone wrote. Yes, beautiful. So I invite you to follow my thoughts, and maybe you make sure you sit comfortably and put both feet on the ground. And take a deep breath. And we can take another few deep breaths to the bottom of my stomach. Breathing deeply helps me to listen to the moment. So let's listen to this very moment for a while. What's happening in my body? If I listen to my heart, what's going on in my heart? And if I listen to my mind, what's happening in my mind? Where is my mind right now? Wherever it is, let's take the mind to this very moment we share together. We share this moment with everybody else on this planet. I breathe the same air as everybody else on this planet. The water and the food comes from the same and one planet. Can I also hear the planet? Can we listen to the earth? So we continue to breathe deeply in this very moment. Breathing deeply helps me to become humble and meet life as a student. Breathing deeply helps to connect to my deeper self. So let's take our thoughts within and forget the world for a moment. And I think of myself as a being of light, living in this world, living in this body, but being very different. I'm a being of love, of peace and joy. I'm an energy of light. How does that feel like? I ask myself. How does it feel like to be a peaceful soul of light? How does it feel like to be a loving soul of light? How does it feel to be filled with joy and hope and compassion? When I focus on my positive qualities, there is so much to reflect upon. And all these positive thoughts that nourishes my spirit. It frees my mind. And my positive thoughts have a slower speed than all other thoughts. And when I think slowly, I notice the small pause between the thoughts, where I am just myself, being of light. So stay here for a while with the positive part of myself, giving it energy and love. And before we return back from the meditation, I'll just ask you to close your eyes for a moment and ask yourself how it feels like to be me right now. How it is to talk to myself in this way. And then we take a deep breath and come back to this moment, to the Zoom, to the presentation. And I will finish the slide here. And I say thank you to all of you for playing along with me. And I think we'll see if there are any questions or